What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another Madden 24 online CFM game. We are now in week 18 of the 2024 season here in the Premier Madden League. Our Rams got the big win on Sunday night against the Seattle Seahawks last week that gave us first place in the NFC West with a week to spare. In fact, it gave our Rams the 3 seed in the NFC West. We are not going up in the standings, we are not going down no matter what happens. And our opponent this week, the Detroit Lions, have also clinched a playoff spot and really have nothing to gain for playing starters in week 18. That means that this week 18 matchup is going to be a battle of the backups. With the playoffs coming up, we know our spot is secure. We know our seeding is secure. There's literally no reason for us to push anything in week 18. So a lot of our guys, whether it's the obvious superstars like Kupp and Donald, even Byron Young, or even the lesser known guys like, our whole starting offensive lineman, we're going to bench as many key players as we can for this regular season finale. So here we go. We are underway in the Motor City for the battle of the backups in week 18. Trey Hodges Tomlinson going to get his first and probably last snap of the game. Then we're going to pause and make all of these substitutions. And I would say the one starter that you will notice that will still be playing is our quarterback, Jalen Henderson. My plan is to give Jalen Henderson most of the first half to play, and then we are going to turn the reins over to Jameis Winston for the rest of the game. Otherwise, we are going to go to as many backups as we possibly can with the roster that we have. And this is really helpful because, as I mentioned a couple of videos ago, these games were played during the stamina glitch era of Madden 24, which means that players' stamina were getting absolutely nuked as Tutu Atwell. Yeah, we're going to see the likes of Tutu Atwell and Zach Evans in today's game. So perhaps some familiar faces from last season who have been relegated to the bench will get one chance to shine before we focus forward on the playoffs. But yeah, back to what I was saying, with the stamina glitch, some of our guys have really been affected by this stamina glitch, like Deion Jones that I mentioned before, and they're barely getting snaps in these important games. So this is going to give them a great opportunity to rest up as we run the end around on 4th and 1 to Tim Patrick. Yeah, we're going to go deep into our playbook today. We're going to try to have some fun with this one as Tim Patrick gets injured on the next play, and this is why we don't play our starters in week 18 games. Imagine if that was Cooper Kupp who got injured in that spot. Imagine even if that was Julian Fleming. Bam, high ankle sprain. We are done with Tim Patrick for the rest of this game, and that actually means that we have to play one of our starting wide receivers. I was going to roll with Tutu Atwell, Isaiah Hodgins, and Tim Patrick, but now it looks like we're going to have to rock Puka Nacua for the rest of this one with Tim Patrick injured. We get a free play here, first down. Jalen looking, he's flustered in the pocket from the word go, and we don't even really get to take advantage of the free play. We'll still get the 5 yards at least as we give it to Zach Evans outside. And Zach Evans, who played a prominent role on last year's team after the early season-ending injury to Cam Akers, having a chance to shine today. He's going to be one of the 2 running backs that we're rotating in and out because we actually only have 3 running backs on our roster. And Zach Evans is going to be the bell cow back. We're going to put a little bit of Kirk Merritt on the field. But as far as Antonio Gibson, he's going to get the day off. Obviously, Kupp, Fleming, we're going to try to give them the day off. I guess we'll play Davis Allen at tight end with Hunter Henry still hurt. I don't even want to put Tyler Higbee on the field because he's too valuable of a backup and honestly might be worth starting even when it comes to playoff time, as this pass is completed to Jameson Williams. And it actually looks like the Lions are rolling with some of their starters, including Jameson Williams and Jared Goff. Sam Laporta, despite being an excellent tight end in real life, is actually the backup for the Detroit Lions. So, they definitely do have some backups on the field. Javion Hawkins is actually a starter for this team because Jahmyr Gibbs suffered a season-ending injury as Sam Laporta mosses Mike Edwards for the touchdown. And Mike Edwards is a man we had to go way down the depth chart to find and put on the starting lineup for today's game. Mike Edwards actually made an appearance, I believe, in the Cardinals game a couple of weeks ago, and that was only because all of our linebackers suffered from the stamina glitch, and Mike Edwards ended up subbing in at linebacker and actually ended up getting an interception. So yeah, we're going to get those guys. We're going to get Keyshawn Nixon. We're going deep into the depth chart, and of course, we're really focused on what we got to do in the playoffs, and we could potentially affect the playoff seeding by winning or losing today's game. And kind of play matchup as far as who we want to play. That's not something I'm going to do, but that's something that we could do, because the Detroit Lions, as you notice from the playoff bracket, they are currently the 5 seed. And if we have the Lions win today's game, they will be the 5 seed. Secured as the 5 seed. I believe they have a head-to-head over the Arizona Cardinals. But if we lose today's game, there is a chance that the Arizona Cardinals, who are a game behind, could jump them in the standings. I believe they could get jumped elsewhere. So, you know, I'm not going to worry about that stuff, but that is what's on the line as far as real things on the line. Otherwise, we're going to have some fun, but we don't want too many injuries. While I'm saying that it's good that these are not our starters, the more backups that get hurt, that means we're actually going to have to play some starters in this game. And now you see Foyce and Lucan taking the field, and especially at that middle linebacker spot. We don't want injuries in those areas, and bam, Cam Grugier Hill, our third-string middle linebacker, is out for the rest of the game. And Deion Jones is barely able to play games as is, as our second stringer, as Deion, on cue, gets the sack and injures the starting quarterback of the Lions, Jared Goff. This is a big developing story for a team that is going to be playing on Wildcard Weekend next week, and they do not want to be without Jared Goff. That's a pull hammy, and I mean, the Lions would be the biggest fools on the planet if they let Jared Goff take another snap in today's game. And that's kind of a warning shot where it's like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't play Jalen Henderson too much longer. But as you'll notice, I am trying to go with a conservative game plan here offensively, not taking many shots, though we almost took one there on the speed option. Just not trying to have long developing plays or anything like that that would potentially get Jalen hurt. Even though there's not too much of a drop-off between Jalen and Jameis Winston, I still feel more comfortable with Jalen at the quarterback position. 4th down, setting up the screen pass, and it's converted by Kirk Merritt. That was risky at our own 19-yard line. Probably not something we would do in next week's game, but in Week 18, yeah, you know what? 4th and inches, let's let it fly. That was all around kind of odd, you know, running a 5-wide screen, but we made it work as Jalen misses the open man. Kirk Merritt, you can see the frustration, because if Kirk catches that, he's probably gone, as Zach Evans with the reception, but not the first down. And I think I've had enough 4th down drama for my blood for today's game. We'll just punt the ball away. And really, at the end of the day, winning or losing this game, like, it literally does nothing for us. It doesn't, you know, it's just for pride. You know, I like winning these Week 18 games when we get in these situations with backup quarterbacks. It's fun, or just backups in general, it's fun to do, but, you know, if we lose this game, it doesn't matter. Like, you know, if anything, this game has less of a reflection, not only because of the players that we are playing with, but also, you know, I'm not trying to empty our actual game plan for the playoffs onto a Week 18 opponent, especially a team that we might see in the playoffs in the Detroit Lions, right? If we move down to the, you know, we beat whoever, you know, we might see the Lions next week. We might see the Lions next week. So we really don't want to show the Detroit Lions anything, right? As Foyce and Lucan gets the sack. Once again, like, I don't want Foyce to be on the field, but, you know, injuries are doing their thing, and we just kind of got to hope that Foyce is all right, because I believe at this point, Deion Jones might actually not be able to play. I would prefer Deion Jones to take these snaps, but he just, you know, is not going to, all it takes is one hit from the offensive lineman that's more than 90 pounds in him, which is all of them, because Deion Jones is all of like 222 pounds, and he's done. So, yeah, it's going to be weird kind of managing all of that. We'll probably get a lot of John Johnson, who is a sub linebacker on our team. That's the only reason why he's on there. He's a sub linebacker, and he's probably going to be playing a lot of that role. As we punt the ball here on 4th down and 2, we're unable to get that first down on 3rd down to the tight end. Is what it is. Like I said, we're just going through the motions in today's game, trying to avoid injuries. It is what it is, and having some fun. And now we get to look at the Lions backup quarterback, Hendon Hooker, as Hooker hooking up with Jamison Williams, who definitely does not want to take any hits in a game like this. He gets down to bring up a 3rd down, and that's picked off. Oh, do not put your hands in the cookie jar. Roe Torrance hawking for that ball. That was an athletic play by the rookie, who has had a pretty good rookie campaign, it must be said. Roe Torrance is one of those many raw prospects that we got from this year's draft that were low overalls, that needed a season of developing, and we'll see what they can do in games that matter as Jameis Winston enters the game. And I think that might be day done for Jalen Henderson. We got Jameis Winston firing, end zone touchdown. Nakua hangs on for the grab in the end zone, and Jameis is the one that fired that bullet. Prancing Puka in for 6, and we got our first lead of the game, I believe. So yeah, now that we got Jameis Winston in the game, we can let loose on the gameplay a little bit more, give Jameis full reins to fire, take more chances offensively as Hendon Hooker down low going to Javion Hawkins. We got Keon Crossan out there. We're really going to get familiar with backups today as a broken tackle. Jamison Williams, I'm surprised, has gotten this much of a heavy workload in a game like this. And whoa, Hendon Hooker don't want to take too heavy of a shot right there, as that's Kobe Turner. And Kobe Turner is actually going to be someone that we need in the playoffs. With the Rayshon Benny injury, we're going to need Kobe Turner to step up. You know, we're going to need everybody to step up by committee, right? Kobe Turner, Gabe Hall, our rookie defensive tackle, DJ Jones, the veteran, 98 or 95, I believe he is. So hopefully we can get that kind of production, as Nick Hampton, who was a starter at the beginning of last year's team and ended up being a backup on last year's squad, as Gabe Hall demolishes poor Hendon Hooker. Holy cow, what a hit from the defensive tackle. I'm surprised that Hendon Hooker is up to tell the tale and trying to fire on third down and 33. And that's nearly intercepted by Mike Edwards. And I believe the Lions called a timeout right there. I wasn't going to call a timeout. I was just going to let it go to halftime. But the Lions tried to force something before halftime. No bueno. Julian Fleming on the punt return here. So I think this is the first time Julian Fleming has taken the field in today's game. And hopefully the last, as we'll run one shot play. Give it a shot. Oh, there's no shot. Jameis at least able to avoid the sack and get a nifty gain of about 20 yards on the play. Maybe more than that. And yeah, I wasn't going to slide right there. Last play of the half. Meaningless game. Yeah, I'm going to go for the top 10 play. Why not? Didn't work out, but it is what it is. So, yeah, I think I was in point a couple of minutes ago and lost it. It happens. Anyway, start the second half. We are booting with Chase McLaughlin. One thing I will say, we are going to be looking at our end of regular season stats at the end of this video, as we always do at the end of the regular season. So, keep an eye on that, as Mike Edwards, eyes on the football, gets an interception. Very similar to the way Grant Delpit was getting those four-quarter interceptions in last week's game, just put himself in the right place at the right time as Kobe Turner gets injured. And that was the whole monologue I was going on about. Now I remember, for good reason. We need guys like Kobe Turner to be healthy, and now he has a torn labrum. Yes, we have Aaron Donald back, but at what cost for the rest of our defensive line, I suppose? That defensive line by committee thing, we are now one person short. One more short on that committee than we had before. We're already down Rayshon Benny. Now we're down Kobe Turner, who was a starter on last year's team. And we're really going to need a lot more out of Gabe Hall and DJ Jones, as we have Julian Fleming in the game, and Fleming in the end zone. Julian Fleming on the end around for a rushing TD. And the only reason why Julian Fleming is now in the game is because Tutu Atwell got injured. So, Tutu Atwell, I believe, is out for the rest of the game as well. And now we have to play two of our starting wide receivers because two of our backups got injured. And yeah, we could play tight ends, but we don't really have that many tight ends. We already are starting one of our backups, and one of our starters, Hunter Henry, is injured. So, it's either put Tyler Higbee out there, or I don't know. It's just, might as well put Julian Fleming. We'll just, I don't know, we'll manage it throughout the rest of the game. It's starting to get a lot more of a puzzle, a complex puzzle to try to solve. Trying to manage all the bodies on this team. Wow, what a swat by Keyshawn Nixon. 3rd and 25, he got beat downfield and made up for it, as thankfully Tutu Atwell is back. So we don't got to worry about that piece of the puzzle for a little bit, as Atwell with a solid punt return brought down by the punter, and Tutu Atwell is injured again. So that means Kirk Merritt is downfield. Got it! Diving grab! Kirko! Bang! And a dislocated shoulder knocks Tutu Atwell for the rest of the game, out for the rest of the game. And now we really need Julian Fleming. Yeah. We're up 24-7, so we don't have to run that many 3 wide receiver sets to win this game. And even if we didn't, we still don't want to run that many 3 wide receiver sets to get Puka and Fleming exposed for the chance of injury. Because then we're really going to have to worry about playing tight ends at wide receiver, because we'll have no other option. As you see Marcus Peters back there. Real quick, Marcus Peters and Bo Braid all season, they've been in a battle for the starting free safety position. You know, I tried to go with Bo Braid early, shifted back to Marcus Peters, went back to Braid. I think it went back to Peters once more. I was really back and forth on whether I wanted the veteran ball ball hawk back there, or the rookie who is faster and more athletic. And I think I've decided for, the last stretch of this season and going forward that we're going to go with Bo Braid, because I do like that athleticism. I feel, whoa, that was nearly a fumble recovery for our Rams, as Laporta, I believe, got injured on the play. So you got the backup in, and you got Javion Hawkins losing a yard. Oh man, a lot going on here, as Hendon Hooker on second down with the handoff. Again, we get the stop. We didn't get the fumble recovery, but we're still trying to make a goal line stand. Third down. Oh, Hawkins shut down once more. Fourth down and goal, down by 17. And the Lions are going to line up for it. Why not? Oh, no! Jadeveon Clowney turns the lights off in the building. Hendon Hooker thought, man, Hawkins is not getting it done. I'll do it myself. Yeah, not a good idea, buddy. But we end up taking a safety on the next play. Whoops. And we punt the ball out of bounds. Whoops. Not really according to the game script, but it is what it is. So, just to wrap up the last point, I ended up going with Bo Braid. I like what he brings. Yeah, sometimes, his low overall leads to coverage breakdowns, and I'm like, man, I wish we had someone with a higher ratings, play rec, and zone and all that stuff, but you know what? I feel like we have a higher ceiling with Bo Braid out there, so. And plus, Marcus Peters is kind of slow at these days, man. I think he's like 89 speed, and I feel like he's like 85 speed out there, as Hendon Hooker has gotten the boys right back to the goal line after his defense forced the safety. Now it's all up to punching it in here. First down, they'll lose 2 yards. Second down, Hooker afforded all the time in the world, but nothing really open according to his eyes. And you see Hendon Hooker really inconsistent, 9 for 21, and make that 9 for 22 as he misses a potential touchdown on the play. And fourth down and goal at the 7. Yeah, it's week 18, I guess. Why not? And, another missed touchdown for Hooker. A turnover on downs, a painful turnover on downs, as we accidentally bring in Jalen Henderson for a play. So, you see, I gave myself up. I was like, wait, this is Jalen. Get him out of here. And now we got Jameis back into the game, and thankfully we are going to take our second safety of the game. Jameis is kind of lighting it up, though. 5 for 7, 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards, and limited action. Look, if something happens to Jalen Henderson, I know that we have a good insurance plan. A decent insurance plan. All right, not a great one, but a decent one. Third down, outside, in traffic, and nearly hauled in by Zach Evans as we end up punting the ball away. We have a 15-point lead. It's the start of the fourth quarter. I'm trying to shorten this game up as much as possible, even though that third down play doesn't really show it. We're just trying to run clock. I'm going to put true clock on from here on out and just try to get out of here. I'm kind of hoping the Lions guy will be on the same flow as me, because I feel like he's in the same spot as us, where, there's no reason for him to be chancing injuries. We have actually suffered more than enough injuries in this game to cost us, to the point where we actually lost one of our starters, Kobe Turner, because of the banged up bodies coming into this game beforehand. And we're not trying to play around with that anymore. You see Chico Bennett, another one of those raw prospect rookies, and I'm really happy about the way that our draft class has turned out, because we took a lot of chances, a lot of shots in the dark at guys that really could have flamed out as absolute busts. But Rayshawn Benny has been pretty good for us. Julian Fleming has been way above expectations. You talk about Bo Braid and Ro Torrance. They've been good members of our secondary. Ro Torrance has really stepped up in the past couple of weeks, being our third string corner. And of course, Jalen Henderson at the quarterback position, because as I mentioned way at the beginning of the season, I didn't really care if we drafted a quarterback in this year's draft. We signed Jameis in free agency. We had way too many holes on this team to cover, to have to worry about putting some high quality allocation into trying to get a quarterback, where I was like, you know what? We're going to focus on the rest of the team this year, and then we'll focus on quarterback unless one happens to fall into our lap, which it did not. And, I just drafted Jalen just to get somebody at the end of the 5th round. Jalen ended up playing pretty good in preseason, to the point where we were comfortable starting him over Jameis, and it's been a lot of ups and downs, but, I think we can rock with Jalen. But I feel like we have to go to the playoffs to truly test whether Jalen Henderson can be our guy for future years, or if we have to look at that quarterback position going down the line. So, even though I like Jalen Henderson, we still need him to prove it on the big stage, because that's really when it matters at the end of the day. Shout out to our defense really getting it done in this one. Shout out to Hendon Hooker for missing a lot of passes. Speaking of Jalen Henderson, we've seen him miss a lot of passes throughout these games. The Hendon Hooker is showing us what it looks like from the opposite side of the perspective, and I feel kind of bad for this Lions guy. I'm like, damn, this should be a lot of a closer game if Hendon Hooker could do anything throwing the ball. Like, the poor guy can't do jack squat, as we are one first down away from putting this game away for good. Can we get it on third down? Yes, we can. Zach Evans had a chance to score the touchdown. I believe that would have been his first touchdown of the season, but he gives himself up, and that'll give us the opportunity to take one bend to the knee and get out of here. And unlike real Jameis Winston, with our backup running back not having a touchdown on the year, we're not going to disrespect the unwritten rules of the game and score a touchdown and run up the score to get a guy a touchdown. Mainly because I just want to get the heck out of Dodge. So we get the win here. It's our 12th win of the regular season. We surpassed last season's total of 11 wins. So that's good news. We, like we have covered, have won the NFC West, and now, as we wrap up the regular season, before we move on to some high-pressure football next week, we are going to, take a look at the stats from this week's game, and then we'll look at our end of regular season stats. So, we ended up surviving with most of our team intact. We'll have Aaron Donald next week. I didn't really touch on it, but Aaron Donald was eligible to play in today's game. But as I mentioned last week, we were not going to play Aaron Donald in today's game. Like, he's way too important to play in Week 18 when we already have a playoff spot secured. So, Donald still had a really good season, though. Even though he has not played since Week 12, I think he had double-digit sacks on the year. We'll see it soon. So, Aaron Donald still put up a Pro Bowl season. So we know he's still got a lot left in the tank. The future Hall of Famer is still playing like a Hall of Famer as it is, as we check out our 2 injuries from the game, and we're actually pretty banged up going into this game. A lot of those were practice injuries, though. So, Isaiah Wynn, Bo Braid, I think both got injured in practice, so they will be back for the playoffs, and Hunter Henry as well. But Rayshon Benny and Kobe Turner are the big ones, our 2 left ends, and Cam Grugier-Hill, our third-string middle linebacker, that actually does matter because of the stamina glitch, the stamina fatigue problem in Madden. Cam Grugier-Hill was actually playing a lot for us the last couple of weeks since Deion Jones kept fatiguing really early. So we actually need to address that middle linebacker 3 position. So I'm actually going to put Cam Grugier-Hill on the IR and sign Raekwon McMillan, because Grugier-Hill is only eligible to come back if we somehow manage to make it back to the Super Bowl. And we can't play around with that. Like, we need to address that for next week's game. So he's not that important that I need to hold out for him. So we'll just throw him on the IR, open up the extra roster spot, bring in Raekwon McMillan, and let it rock. So here's our final stats here. You got Antonio Gibson going over 1,000 yards rushing, and I believe 13 rushing touchdowns. Jalen Henderson went just over 14 rushing touchdowns for him. Jalen Henderson went over 4,000 yards passing, and also over 700 yards rushing and 7 rushing touchdowns. So a really good rookie season stats-wise at the end of the day. Cooper Kupp numbers definitely down from last season, but Cooper Kupp can still get it done with the best of them. You see Antonio Gibson also over 600 yards receiving, so he was an underrated big part of our team. Kirk Merritt just missed out on 500 yards receiving. Oh well, but you see the ball was really spread around this year. We ended up really moving it between Puka, between even like Tim Patrick and Hunter Henry out there. Patrick ended up doing a lot for this squad. Rob Havenstein ended up giving up a lot of sacks. Shout out to I'm pretty sure he's still our highest overall offensive lineman, just being the human turnstile. Foyce and Lucan definitely did what we needed him to do on this team, leading the team in tackles along with Deion Jones, that athletic linebacking duo, just doing what we wanted them to do, what we envisioned at the start of the season. Aaron Donald always doing what we need him to do. But shout out to Jadeveon Clowney with 20 tackles for loss. Clowney's been a really underrated part of our defense. DJ Jones, some of these unsung guys, like these random vets making plays and kind of bucking the trend of usual Madden stuff where you always want to play the young guys over the older guys. We're playing guys like Jadeveon Clowney because they produce at the end of the day, and we want to have production out there. So you see our interception totals. Grant Delpit, the newcomer on the team, leading the team in INTs with 8. Trey Hodges Tomlinson, Kobe Durant, All of our cornerbacks doing their thing. Rotorins, all ball hawking a little bit. No crazy interception numbers, but, you know, I would say that's partially because our team actually got a lot more sacks this year, I feel like. We did a really good job of getting pressure. Byron Young's sack total was down, but we really made up for it across the board. Byron was banged up for a little bit of the season, and he still ended up with, you know, making some productive plays. You see Grant Delpit with the 2 touchdowns, and, you know, so including some 4-quarter heroics in last week's game. So he's been a good pickups, and yeah, that's pretty much gonna do it. We're gonna go over some special team stats before we get out of here, but that is gonna do it for today's video. Chase McLaughlin unfortunately had 1 kick blocked against the Cardinals in week 15 or 16 that ruined an otherwise perfect kicking regular season for him. Punting, I think Ethan Evans did good. I don't know, whatever. Kick return, we got 2 kick return touchdowns in the first half of the year with Trey Hodges-Tomlinson. And as far as punt returns, Julian Fleming never returned one, but was productive on a lot of those returns. That about 10 yards per average there tells you that he was getting stuff done. But that is going to do it for today's video. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed what you guys saw today. Subscribe for more Madden 24 gameplays, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you, as always, for watching.